Kansas Corn is a farmer-led organization comprised of the Kansas Corn Growers Association and the Kansas Corn Commission. We grow corn and so much more. We grow the future. In 2019, through our Kansas Corn STEM education program, we reached 51,000 Kansas students in grades K through 12. Through our collegiate programs, we awarded $18,000 worth of scholarships to Kansas students at our annual symposium in January 2020. We grow demand. Building domestic and export markets for our corn and corn products is a top priority. That's why 59% of our budget goes towards strengthening export, ethanol, and livestock markets. We grow innovation by funding research for profitability, sustainability, and new uses for corn. We grow Kansas FFA. Our love for the blue and gold holds true. We are proud supporters of our agricultural education teachers, local FFA chapters, and the Kansas FFA Association. Follow us on social media for news and updates. We hope you enjoy the 92nd Kansas State FFA Convention, and thank you to everyone who helps grow Kansas corn.
In today's market, successful farming takes more than a good harvest. It takes farmers working together with groups like the Kansas Soybean Commission to help grow the future of soy in our state and beyond. Headed by 9 farmer leaders elected by fellow Kansas soybean farmers, the Kansas Soybean Commission helps to move the soy industry forward by focusing on 3 areas of development: expanding domestic and international markets, advancing production and research into new uses, and providing outreach to farmers and consumers.
We're always looking for ways to improve the bottom line for the Kansas soybean producer. We've got production research, biodiesel, consumer outreach. These are things that we try to get across to not only the producer but also the public in what we're doing and how we're trying to improve.
We started our Precision Ag program about 25 years ago. Today, when we start looking at different products and services that we're going to bring to our customers, it has to fill a need or solve a problem, it has to create an efficiency, or it has to have a positive return on investment. You know, when we're working with Precision Ag, it's still just farming. We're still planting, spraying, harvesting, we're spreading fertilizer, we're irrigating. We're just using technology to help make that better.
Right now, it feels like the world's standing still. But if you look to the land, it's a whole different story. From farms to backyards, wheels are turning, seeds are being planted, animals are getting fed, grass is growing, and families are giving their all to the soil. Because no matter how uncertain things get, the land never stops. So to all those linked to the land, we say thank you. We're here for you because we all run together.
For the past century, Kansas Farm Bureau, through advocacy, education, and service, has been working with and on behalf of farmers to make sure they have support needed to be successful. We too believe in the future of agriculture, and one of our main sources of that faith and hope is we believe in you, the next generation of ag leaders.
And even though we aren't together in Manhattan this year, we know that the knowledge you've gained, the skills you've developed, and the success you've achieved, that will hold us true even through a global pandemic. Because your FFA experience is about more than the accolades you earn. It's about the person you become. It's about embracing the struggle and the challenges, because you know that growth and joy lie on the other side. It's about pressing forward into uncharted territory so that others can follow your lead. It's about doing what's in your control to earn what you can and to share what you have with others who need it.
So take a minute to enjoy this time of reflection and celebration of your work and accomplishment from the past year. There is so much good to remember and share. And then, as you go back to daily life, remember your creed. Because in times like these, when things are tough for many working to feed our world, American agriculture can and will hold true. But we all need to do our part in our homes and in communities and exert the influence we have in order to, once again, see a bright future for agriculture. We know you're doing your part, and we're working to do our part as well. Congratulations again, and enjoy your conference.
Hello, FFA members, and greetings from the CHS Foundation. I hope all of you are well and that you and your families are staying safe and healthy. On behalf of the CHS Foundation, I just wanted to send you this quick note and congratulate all of you on all of your FFA achievements over this last year. We know that State Convention, your school classes, and FFA all look a little different this year, but we are so impressed by the ways that all of you are adapting and continuing to live out that FFA motto by learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve. The CHS Foundation is so proud to support each and every one of you on your journey through FFA and as you gain the skills to become that next generation of ag leaders. Congratulations on everything you've achieved this past year, and the very best of luck to all of you in your future endeavors. Thank you.
My F-150 is working, even when I'm not. When I head out for the weekend with friends, I know it can handle everything since it's got an available max payload of 3,270 pounds. And it could tow 13,200 pounds. I used to hate backing up my trailer. This F-150 has an available feature that makes it really easy. Now I do it like a pro.
Growing the market for Kansas-made ethanol is a win-win for Kansans.
And we, as FFA members, can help.
Last year, Kansas Corn launched the Fueled by Kansas campaign to drive consumers to step up from regular unleaded to E15 at the pump.
What's E15?
It's fuel with 15% ethanol compared to the usual 10% in regular unleaded. E15 is more affordable, has better performance, and runs cleaner than regular unleaded, meaning Kansas drivers can go further for less.
In March, 5 FFA chapters helped introduce E15, also called Unleaded 88, at Casey's locations across the state.
On behalf of Kansas Corn, a big thanks goes out to Dodge City, Hiawatha, Hugoton, Inman, and Ottawa FFA chapters for helping at these events.
And now, we can help by spreading the word. How?
First, visit fueledbykansas.com to find a station near you.
That way, the next time your chapter is heading to a CDE in the school suburban, or you're hauling livestock to the fair, you'll know where to fill up with Kansas-made E15.
Secondly, tell your friends and family about the benefits of ethanol to Kansas. From helping Kansas farm families by stabilizing grain prices and growing their markets, helping Kansas become more energy independent, and adding more than 4,000 jobs in Kansas, more of our money stays right here at home because of ethanol.
And be sure to like Fueled by Kansas on Facebook.
Wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet, there's an opportunity to fuel Kansas.
We're powerful influencers for agriculture in our communities, Kansas FFA. Let's join together and spread the word.
And get fueled by Kansas.
Here at Kubota Tractor Corporation, we want to remind you how critical the FFA is for our country and our world. The global Kubota Corporation actually started with a 19-year-old kid, Gonshiro Kubota, who developed iron water pipes to deliver clean water to his community, a life-saving innovation in 1890s Japan. That's the same spirit that founded the Kubota Tractor Corporation here in America. That's why Kubota Tractor Corporation is not only directly investing in the FFA, we're also invested in the community. Based in Texas, building machines in Georgia, designing engines in Illinois. And last year, we formed our Midwest Division, completing a state-of-the-art training facility and our largest North American supply chain campus here in Edgerton, Kansas, the heart of the Midwest. From a complete line of tractors to construction equipment, hay tools, and more, we're pushing the highest quality engineering to elevate this industry. And we can't wait to see how you elevate it even more. So on behalf of our entire nation, we thank you. We encourage you. Together, we do more.
The association will come to order. We are now holding this virtual session of the 92nd Kansas FFA Convention. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the states of Alaska to the Virgin Islands, and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries, wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. And being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Madam Vice President, why do you keep the plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are Kansas FFA members, advisors, and guests viewing, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and to develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this session of the 92nd Kansas FFA Convention duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented.
Good morning, Kansas FFA members, alumni, and guests, and welcome to the third session of the 92nd Kansas FFA Convention. Not only is FFA built on the future of agriculture, but it is also built on the values of premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. Each of these values holding challenge, opportunity, hope, and self-growth evident to FFA members. That way, they can reach their level of success. Not only can these values be found in our organization, but they can also be found in my favorite fictional universe, Star Wars. What I love about Star Wars is that it holds these same values true, even on a galaxy scale of action and adventure. The heroes of the Star Wars universe overwork and overcome any challenge presented to them. They take amazing opportunities that they come across, they fight for hope, and they grow as leaders throughout their journey. Through exploring a galaxy far, far away, and in this session, we will learn more about these values through our keynote speaker, Walter Kinsey, as well as from the high-achieving chapters ranked in the Strengthening Agriculture section of the National Chapter Award. And we'll also learn a little bit more about these values from our state advisor, Mr. Kurt Dillon, as he addresses the State of the State address. Furthermore, we will also recognize the FFA member who will win a free John Deere Gator, and also recognize the FFA members who have gone above and beyond to earn the prestigious State FFA Degree. Kansas FFA members and guests, let's get ready to dig deep and explore this session. My favorite character from the original trilogy is Luke Skywalker. Luke started as a farmer on the desert planet of Tatooine, and after following a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he was whisked away from his home into a galaxy full of adventure and more opportunities, which grew him to be a better Jedi and better leader in the Rebel Alliance. Our keynote speaker for this session followed a similar opportunity by joining FFA. And by joining FFA, that allowed him to keep growing as a leader and in his career through following more opportunities. Hailing from the Lebec County FFA chapter, our keynote speaker utilizes the lessons learned from agricultural education and FFA at Encore Live, who produced President Trump's presidential inauguration, a private concert for Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, as well as several other amazing productions. Kansas FFA, let's give a big blue and gold welcome to our keynote speaker this session, FFA alumni, and founder and CEO of Encore Live, Walter Kinsey.
I've waited 20 years to say these words. Good morning, Kansas FFA. A friend once told me you are the sum total of all the decisions you make in your life. Think about that for a second. You are the sum total of every decision you've ever made. Can you think back to something significant that has recently happened to you and then trace those decisions back for a little while? I'm going to give you an example of mine. You know, I attended Lebec County FFA, and you fast forward several years, and now I own my own company in Fort Worth. And as I look at the employees, the team members that join our family and work for us, there is a clear difference between those who have been in FFA and those who haven't. I believe you being at this conference today is one of the best decisions you can make. I believe you choosing to be involved in FFA is one of the best decisions you've made in your life. And I'm going to tell you why it was the best decision I made in my life too. When I was in the 8th grade, my sister was the president of an all-female leadership team for Lebec County FFA. I believe it was the first time ever. Because she was an officer, I got to go to the banquet that night. And I was very proud to watch my sister come down the hallway in Harrison Auditorium and join the other members of her leadership team on the stage and go through all the accomplishments that all of these members had achieved throughout the year. It was incredible. I was inspired by her speech. I was inspired by the speech of the district FFA officer that was there. I didn't even know that was a thing. It was right then I made the decision I was joining FFA. Quickly, I became very involved my freshman year. It was an easy decision. I wasn't very good at sports, and I loved everything that was happening in FFA. I went to the Green Hand Conference, and I got to meet the National FFA President. I didn't know that was a thing either. And I was like, this is really cool. I was going to be a national FFA officer. So I worked really hard my freshman year, my sophomore year. My junior year, I achieved a chapter office, and I ran for district. My senior year, I was a district officer. I kept making the decisions to stay involved because I loved everything about FFA. I didn't think the decisions I was making then would really impact me 20 years later, but it couldn't be further from the truth. I'd made the decision I was going to be a state FFA officer, and nothing was going to stop me. I was involved. I met all these people. I traveled all over the place. I did everything I could do, and it wasn't easy. Like many of you, I came from humble beginnings. In order for me to participate in everything I did in FFA, I had to work hard. I had part-time jobs to fund everything that I wanted to do there. It was worth every minute. It was incredible. At the end of my senior year, I was convinced my FFA journey wasn't over. I ran for state FFA office, and guess what? I didn't get it. At the time, I was devastated, but then I got to see all these other members that had ran their senior year of high school and didn't get it, and so they ran at the end of their freshman year in college. I made the decision that I was going to continue my FFA journey. Now, as a freshman in college, you don't have all the contests, you don't have all the leadership events. There's not a whole lot of ways to stay involved, but I looked for every opportunity. I made the decision I was going to run for state FFA office again. Miss Kane, another teacher at Kansas State, was familiar with the intern opportunity at the National FFA Convention. I applied. I got it. I was so excited. This is something I can do to stay involved. When I got to the National FFA Convention and I got to see it from behind the scenes, I fell in love. This was a big production. All the logistics that it takes to put it together, this was cool. I had always thought about producing concerts and putting on shows, and now I'm getting to work at one. This is unbelievable. It was there I decided maybe I wouldn't run for office again. Maybe it was a blessing that I didn't get the office that I ran for because I loved volunteering at National FFA Convention. So I kept doing it. I kept doing it. I made the decision not to run for Kansas FFA office again, and I kept volunteering at the National FFA Convention. When I was in high school, I met a guy named J.R. Peterson. He was my counselor at the Washington Leadership Conference, and he and I became fast friends. Shortly after working the convention, I learned that J.R. later in life married a former National FFA president, who is now Lisa Peterson. Lisa and I were both volunteering at the newsroom for the National FFA. She and I became fast friends. It was some years down the road, Lisa introduced me to a man that was building a home in Texas, and there was going to be an event component to it, and she knew that I loved big productions. Lisa quickly introduced me to her friend, Steve Hageman from Indiana. Steve was a very successful farmer, so it made sense that he and Lisa were friends. And Steve had accomplished a whole lot in his life. And whenever the two of us met, we also became fast friends. And it was after fostering that relationship and making the decision to meet new people and get out there that Steve introduced me to another gentleman from Dallas, a businessman with big ties to New York City. Steve introduced me to that man, and he and I also became friends. And as I continued to network with him and get to know him, he became very comfortable with me and what I could achieve through concerts, events, logistics, things like that. And he introduced me to some other businessmen in New York City. Their last name was Trump. Sometime later, my new friend would announce that he's running for president of the United States of America. At the time, I thought, I don't know what's going to happen here. And if I'm being honest, I still kind of think that today. But I can tell you that early on, I kept bugging. Let me be involved. Let me be involved. I do big productions for a living. Let me be involved. And sure enough, whenever he won president-elect, one morning while I was at the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, Nevada, I got a phone call from that guy saying, come to New York. I need your help with my inauguration. I got up there. I met with the family. We spent a lot of time discussing the important things that had to happen over the next 45 days. And then I moved to Washington, D.C. And on the morning of January 21st, 2017, I was overseeing the logistics of one president, Barack Obama, leaving office, and another president, Donald J. Trump, beginning their office. It was an unbelievable honor. I stood 20 feet from those two men as that transformation of power happened. 20 feet from one of the most significant things that happened in U.S. history. How did I get here? Well, I got here because I met the Trumps. And prior to that, I got there because I'd met a businessman from Dallas with New York ties. Before that, I met a farmer from Indiana because he had a good friend that was also involved in FFA. I met that guy because I had chose to be involved in the National FFA Convention. And I met her because I made a buddy out of someone I met at the Washington Leadership Conference. I met him because I decided to stay as involved as possible because I thought I wanted to be a Kansas FFA officer. I met all of those people because in 8th grade, when my sister was an officer, I attended a banquet and I made the decision right then, I'm joining the National FFA organization. Folks, it might seem silly, but every decision you make in life matters. Every one of them. And you're sitting there today, and it would be very easy to think a lot of the decisions you're making right now won't matter a long time from now. It couldn't be further from the truth. If you're sitting there today, you've already made the right decision. Welcome to the Kansas FFA Convention. I'm going to encourage you to pay attention throughout this entire event. I'm going to encourage you to keep seeking to stay involved. The temptation to go and do other things in high school is real. Discover the things you want to discover. Work hard to make those things possible. But stay involved in Kansas FFA. You never know what stage it might bring you to. Thank you.
During the struggle between the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire, the Alliance's mission was to spread hope throughout the galaxy. By fighting evil and sending supplies to the planets that were in need, the Rebel Alliance strengthened the galaxy through their mission of hope. Like the Rebel Alliance, the FFA has a similar mission of strengthening agriculture. The following FFA chapters have demonstrated excellence in the strengthening agriculture portion of the National Chapter Award. Through the quality standards of agricultural advocacy and literacy, chapter recruitment, support group, and safety, the FFA members in the following chapters have done their part to advance the future of agriculture. Let's now recognize these high-achieving chapters that have ranked gold in the Strengthening Agriculture's portion of the National Chapter Award.
The chapter's ranking in the Gold Division and Growing Leaders, placing in 11th through 21st place in alphabetical order are Center, Chapman, Ellsworth, Girard, Holton, Hugoton, McLeod, Mission Valley, Neodesha, Riverton, Tonganoxie. In 10th place, Royal Valley. In 9th place, Buhler. Receiving 8th place, Sedan. 7th place, Oxford. In 6th place, Clay Center. In 5th place, Arkansas City. Earning 4th place is Udall. In 3rd place, Hayes. Receiving 2nd place, Beloit. And the first place chapter in the Growing Leaders Division is Southeast of Saline. Southeast of Saline is advised by Brooke Petty and has 43 members. Congratulations to the members and advisor of the Southeast of Saline FFA chapter, the winner of the Growing Leaders Division of the National Chapter Award.
In the Star Wars universe, Master Yoda was one of the wisest mentors to the Jedi. As Grand Master of the Jedi Order, Grand Master Yoda utilized his experience from over 900 years old as a Jedi to teach, motivate, and inspire everyone he meets. Here in the Kansas FFA Association, we have our own Grand Master Yoda. Mr. Kurt Dillon has the passion and experience to effectively lead our association as our state advisor. Let's welcome Mr. Kurt Dillon, our State FFA Advisor, as he delivers the State of the State Address.
Well, good morning. Good morning, FFA members, advisors, and guests. Well, here we are at the 92nd FFA Convention. I tell you, it sure looks a lot different than previous conventions. Many of you are probably watching from your recliner, hanging out with your family, and not having to complain about the heat and humidity here in Manhattan. You know, you're not having to rush to Aggieville for meals between sessions. Advisors aren't having to get up in the middle of the night to do room checks at the motel, and we're not standing out in the sun in line waiting for those primo seats in McCain Auditorium. Today is an opportunity for us to hold true to our FFA traditions and recognize all the successes of our members and our advisors. You know, this has been a great year for Kansas agricultural education. We have over 13,000 students enrolled in 217 programs across the state, 212 FFA chapters, and almost 9,500 FFA members. But why don't we have 13,000 FFA members? You know, FFA members, it's time to hold true to your roots and make sure that you connect with all those classmates who have chosen not to be an FFA. Share with them the benefits and the opportunities that you've had as an FFA member. We all know somebody who's benefited from having a person of influence in their life. Be that person. Be that person of influence. Hold true to your FFA roots and make this year a priority to get every Ag Ed student involved in FFA. Invite them to a chapter meeting. Welcome them into your group and hold true to the blue and gold. You know, we added 7 new programs in Kansas this year. Attica, Canton Galva, Fort Larned, Ingalls, Lansing, Norwich, and Sterling. We have 250 teachers or more in those 217 programs, and 30 of those programs have more than one teacher. Our Kansas communities have stood up and held true to their agricultural roots by adding new programs and FFA chapters to allow members to become involved in the agriculture industry. The problem with that? We need more teachers. We currently have 12 programs that do not have a teacher at this time. We need you to fill those jobs. Kansas State University and Fort Hays State both offer degree programs that lead to licensure to being an ag education instructor. So members, talk with your advisors, talk with somebody from K-State, talk with somebody from Fort Hays about getting involved in programs to being an ag ed teacher. Make sure you attend the Tag to Teach Ag events across the state this fall, and be sure to tune in for Teach Ag Day in September. We need you to fill those shoes and join the best job ever as an ag teacher. We held 18 regional needs assessments across the state this year to determine the most pressing workforce needs in Kansas. And this should come as no surprise that agriculture came up as a priority in almost all 18 of those assessments. We have a lot of jobs going unfilled in the ag sector because students are taking careers in other areas thinking they don't have the connections to agriculture. It doesn't matter if you like math or science, or if you like accounting, maybe you're into graphical design, maybe you like working with your hands or working with animals, or maybe you like sales. We have career opportunities in agriculture that would meet all those areas. So now's the opportunity for you to hold true to yourself and join the exciting, high-tech, growing career in agriculture that will meet your needs and help you feed the world. You know, every year at convention, I always bring up all the volunteers that it takes to put convention on. And this year is no different. Even though we're not in person, we're doing this virtually, it took a whole lot of people to make this convention happen. And we had to add some new people to our team who knew how to do all the technology to make this work. So you get the quality convention that you're seeing. Jump out there on social media and say thank you to all those volunteers. And I want to personally thank all those volunteers for all the hard work they did to make this a very special celebration. You know, in this spring of the pandemic, we've learned a whole new vocabulary. Words like COVID-19, coronavirus, social distancing, right? Zoom meetings, which I'm sick of, the N95 face mask. You know, and a lot of us have had real concerns about relatives and loved ones and friends contracting the disease. And many of you students out there lost chances for a graduation ceremony or to attend prom, or you missed out on spring sports. And you missed out seeing all your FFA friends at CDEs and at state convention. But you know, I think there's been some new things, new ways to connect have come out of all this. You know, I'm sure your family dynamics have changed a little bit with everybody being at home. Maybe you've agreed to cook dinner one night a week. Maybe you've even learned how to do your own laundry to help your mom out. Maybe you've spent more time working on your SAE or even started a new SAE. And hopefully you've had some time to do some self-reflecting with your family. You know, our family's had a lot of opportunities to get together because of all this. So we've gone to the lake and gone fishing more this spring. We've had a lot of meals together. We've connected with distant relatives via Zoom and FaceTime, and things we probably wouldn't have done otherwise. And we have also had some times to do some reflecting and think about what's important in our lives. You know, one of my favorite hobbies is woodworking. I really, jump into the solitude and the challenge of designing furniture and other items and creating something from a few boards and some chunks of wood. It's my way to hold true to my ancestors and my heritage. Some of these hand tools behind me belong to my great-grandfather and were made, who was a carpenter, and were probably made in the mid to late 1800s. They've been passed down through several generations of our family, and now I use them in my projects. And I hold true to the traditions of my family by keeping these tools sharp and in good working condition. I treat them with respect, and I think of the hands that held them and used them over the past 150 years. And I'm hoping to teach my grandchildren how to use these, and one day they'll be passed on to another generation. So I challenge you, take advantage of this time to evaluate what matters to you, your heritage, and your opportunities to hold true to your values and dreams. Make new connections or build on old friendships. Be willing to pass on your knowledge and skills to others. Hold true to the blue and gold and help the next generation of FFA members find their passion and help build their futures. But most of all, hold true to yourself and be the best you that you can be. You know, we can't wait to all get back together and celebrate everything that FFA has given us. I thank you for tuning in this morning, and please enjoy the rest of the convention and be safe. Thank you very much.
A useful tool that the Jedi have is their lightsaber, which is a handcrafted sword that they carry with them no matter where their journeys of Keepers of the Peace takes them. As a lightsaber is a useful tool to the Jedi, a John Deere Gator is a very useful tool to any agricultural operation. The uses for a John Deere Gator vary just based on the agricultural operation, which can be feeding livestock, burning pasture, storing pulled thistles, or any task that the operator comes up with. State and American degree candidates, district and state proficiency stars, and all Agri-Science Fair participants are entered into this drawing to possibly win a free John Deere Gator, sponsored by Kansas John Deere dealers and John Deere Turf and Ag. Let's find out which FFA member will receive a free John Deere Gator.
Hello and welcome to the 92nd Annual Kansas FFA Convention's Gator Giveaway. Before we announce our winner this year, we would like to thank our local partners: American Implement, BTI, Jericho Implement Company, Heritage Tractor, Hiawatha Implement Company, Landmark Implement, and Prairie Land Partners. We would also like to thank John Deere Corporate. Now, before state convention started, we selected 10 candidates for the Gator giveaway. To be eligible to win, you have to be a state degree recipient, an American degree recipient, a proficiency finalist, a star finalist, and an Agri-Science Fair participant. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. It is time to draw the winner of the Gator giveaway. And our winner is Anna Korhorst from the Marysville FFA chapter. Congratulations.
One of my favorite things about the heroes in the Star Wars universe is that they all went through trials testing their intelligence, knowledge, and strength. These next members have went through trials of their own within their supervised agriculture experience, testing their work ethic, record-keeping ability, and community service to earn the Kansas FFA Degree, the highest degree our state association can bestow upon its members. Please join me as we celebrate these individuals. We are also very grateful for the sponsorship of the Kansas FFA Degree Charms by the Kansas Electric Cooperative and Sunbelt Solomon Solutions.
We shall now proceed with the degree ceremonies. Madam Secretary, what have you to report concerning the candidates eligible for this degree?
I am pleased to submit the names of 254 candidates who have been selected by the State Executive Committee to receive the State FFA degree.
Our Constitution sets up minimum qualifications which must be met before candidates are eligible for election to this degree. Mr. Advisor, have you carefully examined and reviewed the records of these candidates?
I have, Mr. President, and find them all fully qualified.
We shall now proceed to raise these members to the State FFA degree.
The State FFA degree is the highest degree our state association can bestow. Some of you one day will earn the coveted golden key of the American FFA degree. We urge you to maintain throughout your adult lives the same enthusiasm and dedication that you bring to this ceremony today.
It is a great honor to be nominated for the State FFA degree. It is still a greater honor to be selected for this degree by your fellow members of the Kansas FFA Association.
Your new achievement brings you greater honors as well as additional responsibilities. You have widened the field of your service and influence in the strengthening of agriculture, the most basic industry of our nation.
You have been urged to advance toward higher degrees in the FFA. We commend you on your accomplishments and encourage you to work toward new and higher goals in our organization and in your chosen occupation.
In meeting the requirements of the Green Hand and Chapter FFA degree, you were told that the golden charm of the State FFA degree was awaiting you. The bronze emblem of the Green Hand gave way to the silver emblem of the Chapter FFA degree, which has now evolved into that golden charm. This is symbolic of growth and development in your chosen occupation. May the permanence of the rare and golden qualities of the emblem be a constant reminder of the strength of your education and the worthiness of your achievement. Therefore, on behalf of the Kansas FFA Association, I confer upon you the State FFA degree with its honors and privileges, and bestow upon you this charm, the emblem of the degree.
The state degree recipients from the North Central District are, from the Beloit FFA Chapter, Jacob Burks, Joshua Hollerick, Jenna Loomis, Jacob Porter, Abby Vetter, Kieran Ellum. From the Blue Valley FFA Chapter, Brody Barr, Madison Johns, Will Johnson, Ryan Lindell, Riley Olson, Brooks Staten, Benjamin Wishman, and Brooklyn Zoller. From the Chapman FFA Chapter, Lindsay Asher, Hannah Carmen, Brianna Miles, Kevin Mills, Julie Rock, Ty Siebert. From the Clay Center FFA Chapter, Colt Benfer. From the Clifton Clyde FFA Chapter, Eric Peterson. From the Ellsworth FFA Chapter, Rachel Sebesta, Stormy Thompson, Tyler Walford. From the Harrington FFA Chapter, Gene Hansen. From the Junction City FFA Chapter, Chase Allers, Morgan Goodwin, Jonathan Hensley, Alexis Messer, Frank Throckmorton. From the Minneapolis FFA Chapter, Trevor Haley. From the Pike Valley FFA Chapter, Kajsa Karlgren, Jessica Jensen, Brianna Strolander. From the Republic County FFA Chapter, Alexis Hansen, Hunter Hartner, Jenna Kunk, Emma Morris, Riley Stanton, Dylan White, Toby Wilbur. From the Washington County FFA Chapter, Tyler Nelson, Grace O'Tott, Tyler Simmons.
State degree recipients from the Northeast District. From the Atchison County FFA Chapter, Ryan Dunn. From the Axtell FFA Chapter, Simon Schmitz. From the Centralia FFA Chapter, Ransom Engelken. From the Frankfort FFA Chapter, Tara Fox and Hattie Polson. From the Hiawatha FFA Chapter, Jocelyn Dvorak. From the Holton FFA Chapter, Bridget Kukin. From the Jackson Heights FFA Chapter, Joel Kennedy, Jerry Lynn Nelson, and Andrew Waig. From the Marysville FFA Chapter, Anna Cohorst, Jacob Harries, and Abby Luders. From the Onega FFA Chapter, Katie Figge. From the Royal Valley FFA Chapter, Cassidy Parks. From the Sabetha FFA Chapter, Ivy Bailey, Charlie Bestwick, Cody Byer, Aaron Dieters, Andrew Frazee, and Lauren Gates. From the Valley Heights FFA Chapter, Riley Borgerding. And from the Wamego FFA Chapter, Nathan Holtz.
Northwest District State Degree recipients. From the Atwood FFA Chapter, Daisy Hawkins, Julianne Siss, and Caitlin Walters. From the Hayes FFA Chapter, Colton Viner and Monique William. From the Hill City FFA Chapter, Colt Segara. From the Hoxie FFA Chapter, Andrew Foote and Kyler Nyblock. From the Norton FFA Chapter, Mason Scholes. From the Plainville FFA Chapter, Jonah Smith. From the Quinter FFA Chapter, Kaylor Getz and Dalton Kaiser. From the St. Francis FFA Chapter, Katie Worm. From the Thunder Ridge FFA Chapter, Riggs Rindenberg. From the Weskin FFA Chapter, Blakely Aldridge and Hannah Young.
State degree recipients from the South Central District. From the Arkansas City FFA Chapter, Taylor Noak. From the Buhler FFA Chapter, Trenton Eilhart. Hayden Ambrewster. Samantha Baldwin. Jackson Burning. Cody Carlton. Jordan Childs. Connor Compton. Jacob Frederickson. Colt Hahn. Alyssa Hurl. Emma Hirschberger. Grace Hickert. Trenton Maitland. Ethan McComas. Morgan Ann Miller. Haley Miller. Alex Peppenfuss. Piper Schlater. Sierra Sherry. Tanner Siemens. Cade Taylor. Emma Willingson. From the Central FFA Chapter, Eric Moore. From the Center FFA Chapter, Jensen Riffle. From the Fairfield FFA Chapter, Jose Zappin. From the Inman FFA Chapter, Rachel Harmon. Lily Taro. From the Mays FFA Chapter, Gavin Karp. Vivian Steffen. From the Marion FFA Chapter, Payne Enzi. Cassandra Meyer. From the Mound Ridge FFA Chapter, Carson Orpin. From the Peabody Burns FFA Chapter, Jack Parks. Clarissa Strokes. From the Pretty Prairie FFA Chapter, Taylor Hedrick. From the Renwick FFA Chapter, Laura Dole. Abby Schwab. Austin Simon. From the Skyline FFA Chapter, Brock Montgomery. From the South Barber FFA Chapter, Tarika Blick. Allie Hoke. Cutler Jewell. From the South Haven FFA Chapter, Sydney Bacon. Grace Thruer. Rachel Tarrick. Slade Wiley. From the Udall FFA Chapter, Isaac Urick. Isaac Patterson. From the Wellington FFA Chapter, Tamira Graves.
State degree recipients from the Southeast District. From the Altoona Midway FFA Chapter, Abigail Reeves. From the Caney FFA Chapter, Chloe Clegg and Keaton Herman. From the Cherryville FFA Chapter, Cord Dodson. From the Chautauqua FFA Chapter, Reagan Alsbo. From the Coffeyville FFA Chapter, Owen Carr, Taylor Isle. From the Columbus FFA Chapter, Alex Boley, Landon Coons, Caden Crane, Jagger Tanner, and Carson Youngblood. From the Elk Valley FFA Chapter, Walker Coral, Addison DeWitt, Jimmy Greer, Faith McElroy, and Malcolm Rayner. From the Eureka FFA Chapter, Ava Perrier, McKenna Richardson, Ethan Westerman. From the Fort Scott FFA Chapter, Sadie Marciano. From the Girard FFA Chapter, Trisha Combs, Breanne Flaherty, Bailey Poland, and Laura Wells. From the Iola FFA Chapter, Lori Carpenter and Levi Mavis. From the Lebec County FFA Chapter, Denton Carrico, Kylie March, Taya Maxon, Jackson Russell, Elsie Sorrell, Cameron Vale, and Cadence Wheeler. From the Marmonton Valley FFA Chapter, Allison Heim, Juliana Sprague, and Zoe Yoho. From the Neodesha FFA Chapter, Tiffany Adi. From the Riverton FFA Chapter, Eric Boyce, Lane Goodwin, Daphne Parker, and Elizabeth Sturgis. From the Sedan FFA Chapter, Niall Osborne and Martha Sanders. From the St. Paul FFA Chapter, Taylor O'Brien. From the Uniontown FFA Chapter, Clay Brilhart, Braden Griffiths, and Clay Sutterby. From the Yates Center FFA Chapter, Mark Bracca, Trent Burton, Taylor Jacobs, Joey Smith, and Kaylee Smith.
State degree recipients from the Southwest District. From the Dighton FFA Chapter, Burke Shampland. From the Fowler FFA Chapter, Caleb Hines. From the Garden City FFA Chapter, Kyle Dole, Gracie Kraft, Carly Larson. From the Greeley County FFA Chapter, Josie Schmidt. From the Hugoton FFA Chapter, Jacob Bell, Laramie Brechinson, Caleb Grubbs, Louis Ramos, and Connor Wells. From the Ness City FFA Chapter, Dylan Burtz, Mackenzie Coop, Caitlin Smee, and from the Stanton County FFA Chapter, Cordell Heron.
The state degree recipients from the East Central District are: from the Anderson County FFA Chapter, Alex Brownrigg, Maya Corley, Autumn Ewert, Becky Croft, Galen Payne, Abigail Reed, Tucker Tush, Riley Whitman, Guy Young. From the Burlington FFA Chapter, Daniel Bartley, Briley Ish, Lily Rolfe, Drew Thorpe. From the Crest FFA Chapter, Kobe Miller, Alejandra Wright. From the Jayhawk Lynn FFA Chapter, Clinton Barker, Catherine Dawson, Hayden Lowe, Chad Nation, Aiden Schneider, Connor Schneider, Mackenzie Umphenauer, Brody White. From the Meridazine Valley FFA Chapter, Bailey Lacey, Kobe Vanderpool. From the Mission Valley FFA Chapter, William Blythe. From the Ottawa FFA Chapter, Jody Bentz, Josiah John, McKenna Schultz, Caroline Wingert. From the Paola FFA Chapter, Luke Eckleton, Macy Gherkin, Krista Haley, Molly Kane, Leah Myland, Shelby Minden, Brock Pitzer, Atticus Sunday, Benjamin Timp. From the Pleasanton FFA Chapter, Emma Epps, Megan Gillespie, Madison Schreckheis. From the Prairie View FFA Chapter, John McWilliam. From the Spring Hill FFA Chapter, Laura Flannery, Adam King, Alyssa Sharon. From the Tonganoxie FFA Chapter, Tori Gilland. And from the Wabunsie FFA Chapter, Will Glotzbach.
Although we all may be in our own galaxies far, far away within the state of Kansas, don't forget to be back here tonight at 7 p.m. for the final session of the 92nd Kansas FFA Convention. We will recognize a special individual for their service to the agriculture education profession, experience the final part of our proficiency pageant, and hear from our very own Lucas Sebesta, State Treasurer, and Logan Elliott, State President, as they delivered their retiring addresses. Join us also in recognizing the outstanding Kansas FFA chapter that will earn the Bob Garlow Memorial Trophy and the Triple Crown Award, and witness the Stars Over Kansas pageant. Lastly, we will announce those who will serve our association for the upcoming year. So grab your friends and family so that you don't miss our final session of the 92nd Kansas FFA Convention.
Madam Secretary, do you have record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this session? We are about to adjourn this virtual session of the 92nd Kansas FFA Convention. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this session adjourned.